Okay. Byron is nodded at then. It was Valentine, just coming in. He undoubtedly called other people. The Valentine looks confused and bewildered.
All right, well, Byron will approach Valentine then and say, the only people to witness the original attack were Theo, Marcus, myself, and David. If you need me for anything, you know where to find me.
Valentine
I'll be around here.
Gives Byron a perfunctory nod and keeps walking.
Congratulations on using perfunctory in a real sentence.
Instead of an imaginary sentence?
Yeah.
Okay.
Apparently Sean has disconnected.
I saw. Then you have the imp who has managed to return. Who walks into Elysium without any further preamble. Followed
Apparently
by friends.
Sean is resetting something. Well, Byron, what do you want to do with the rest of the evening?
David is actually going to go up to the imp and say with perfect honesty, but the awareness that the imp is probably going to take offense to it for some reason, that he has David's deepest sympathies for what happened. He and all of Glanchmere.
Ephraim stops along with his, his friends. He looks up at David and says, "I think the sympathy will need to be saved for whatever's responsible." A cold smile appears.
Agreed. They have to pay for this.
And eventually, it takes longer. We'll get about a half hour of time here. The Elysium security force has continued to bustle with activity. Valentine's gone in. The High Region has gone in with some friends. You have, let me see here. You have Catherine Weiss, who goes in as, sort of scary looking as she always has, with that aura of quiet menace that sort of like ripples in her wake. You have Thomas Arturo, the illustrious Toreador Harpy, who goes in. Marlena herself actually, makes an appearance, escorted, as always, by Duke Wiley himself. Marlena is more confused than anything else. Duke Wiley has a neutral facial expression.
Marcus will nod as they pass.
Marlena, ever the consummate anarch, will of course nod and be friendly, but she's hurrying herself.
So apparently, the of us are just standing at the door, just watching everyone come in.
Yeah.
I mean, that literally is what David's doing. He's waiting for someone.
You're like valets, yes. And it takes a long while, about a half hour, but eventually the Uncle Smelly himself appears from the shadows and slips into the entry of Madison Square Garden.
David sidles up alongside him.
Gerard, looking at David, says, "My, you always do get into the interesting situations."
Yeah, I know. I'm blessed, right?
I... I'm not sure whether blessed is the right word.
You're just jealous of how pretty I am. Come on.
The Nosferatu overlord blinks at you.
I've got the tape of well, not what happened here, but what happened here almost happened in my haven.
A brow lifts. Oh, and is it from your blessed nature that you managed to resist its attractions?
No, I think it's more timing, or I don't know. Come on. David will try to lead him up to the box, hoping that the VCR is still there.
You'll have to take him to another box. The room's sort of been commandeered and sealed off as princely candidates and other important individuals and what have you have sort of taken it over.
That's fine. David will flag down the least busy Elysium attendant that he can find and ask if they can point out where he can get a VCR for himself.
He's taken to an audio-visual room, and there are plenty of VCRs and televisions to choose from.
Alright, David's going to set up the VCR and say, this, or these, are what took the Tremere. And then he'll hit play for him.
Gerard actually ends up looking the least surprised out of any individual that David's been around, from Theo Bell to Lord Ephraim Wainwright was like, interesting that they'd attack a sewer rat. Gerard will sort of point at the television screen itself and says, yes, I've and others have seen these things before in the sewers.
Well, if that's the case, then I'm sorry to say that the Tremere and Theo Bell are going to want to talk to you.
Only if they know.
Theo Bell's seen that tape and was a personal witness to what happened. And the Tremere, well, it's hard to keep, Jeannie being assassinated like that from them. They don't know that you guys know, though, and I haven't told them any sensitive information.
Gerard crosses one leg or another. A hand of sorts goes up to his weak chin. I don't think this is information they should be hearing either, although it is most certainly disconcerting. It would prove that the Niktuku and whatever these are unrelated. The deaths of a few warlocks, however, along with Jeannie, are not exactly a harmful thing for us.
This is a situation that's threatening the entire Camarilla. I don't think we can afford to not get involved.
Who all's come in here?
Marlene, the imp, a lot of people have. Valentine stopped by.
Seems the Archon is trying to gather who he thinks would have the most knowledge or have the most power to do anything.
Seems that way.
Gerard furrows his brows. So you saw these things, then?
Yeah, 4 of them. They, dragged 4 Tremere under. They didn't even leave the floor planks disturbed once they left. And then, spat their heads out at our feet.
They all just coincidentally managed to land right there?
Holes opened up in the ground, and a little burp happened. It seemed to target.
Gerard says, if this is some sort of Sabbat ritual, this is most certainly the most creative one I've heard from them.
I've never heard of anything like this, though. The closest thing was a snowman.
The Nosferatu elder size. I'm beginning to think that taking this city wasn't such a good idea.
Yeah, you and Theo both. Listen, I'm pretty happy the Camarillas got a hold of this city. It's a lot nicer now than it was, when the Sabbat lived here. But, yeah, there's a lot to deal with.
I think if the Ventru and the Toreador and all of the others, so many who had organized this assault, had known what we'd be getting into, we might have just let the Sabbat happen.
You think?
Yeah, I think.
But, then I'd still be trapped on Manhattan, huddled up, surrounded by Sabbat. So, from a purely selfish perspective, I'm pretty glad you guys are here.
The hunched over elder sort of pushes himself from a sitting position when he was looking at the tape. Welp. Let's go entice them with candies. I will let you know if anything transpires that might be of particular note to you, David.
Do. And, I've already offered Theo my help if he needs it. You want me to look into anything? I will.
Other than getting the Princeton situation resolved, of that, we can at least take care of one problem. Although, I think that might even get more interesting now. I can't see the Tremere not going behind, say, Carter with Eugenio's death.
Speaking of which, has Carter made any motions towards you since I talked to you last?
He has not, no. I'm thinking with all of the Ventru and the Toreador and some Tremere, and now I assume only more will be, who would want to put us back in the sewers. I don't think he wants to make that kind of commitment.
Of course not.
But if something changes... He blinks. Go through that list of people who showed up.
Carter didn't show up, right?
No, you didn't see him. Unless he popped in while you were in here in the audiovisual room.
David actually furrows his brows. Yeah, Carter hadn't showed up when you arrived.
Well, we have been here in this room. I'm sure it means nothing. The way that Gerard says that and how he looks indicates that he is sure it means something.
No, of course, nothing at all.
He wasn't there along with some others weren't there either whenever Kadir made his proclamation as well. But I am sure demontation doesn't allow the little crazies to make tentacles out of nowhere. Unless it's all in our heads.
Well, if it is, then I'd still like to know what took the heads off.
Gerard shrugs. Perhaps your crazy friend will know something about that.
Somehow I doubt it.
With that, Gerard nods, and then he leaves, leaving David alone in the AV room. Outside, standing in the lobby or whatever Byron and Marcus is doing, you haven't seen any other, notable traffic, just Elysium security force sort of, pouring around.
You know, Byron, I hope we find out a way to deal with this problem. Because otherwise, we're done with this ship. Well, I am. I don't know about you.
Yeah. I hear the
David's
south of
just
France is...
gonna sit and think.
Anyway, boundaries. I hear the south of France is nice this time of year. But yeah, I don't know if, how long do you want to sit around here? I think that maybe we've lost relevance.
Probably. You want to share a taxi back to Queens?
Yeah, let's see what David wants to do. Let's see. Byron will wait for that anyway. As long as David isn't taking like an hour or something, then he might leave without him.
No, David's not going to take an hour, but he is going to finally say, maybe we should go up there with them.
Has Joseph shown up yet?
Sure, we can say that he's arrived.
Oh, you want to try to get in the box?
I mean, at a certain point, you have to just act like you have the status you have. We're friends of the Archon Theo Bell. I've personally met all of the candidates for Prince. Yeah. I think we're involved in this.
All right.
Let's go join the discussion.
Let's go try.
Dave's going to head up to the private box.
Byron will follow right behind.
Marcus is going to look for Joseph.
Joseph is going to be showing up anytime now, so... Hello?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, Joseph can just have arrived now at Madison Square Garden. His car and him can teleport from Astoria.
Pachoo!
Follow me, Joseph.
So, some major things have happened at Appear.
Yeah, Eugenio's dead. I'm kind of sad to see him go. He was kind of a nice guy. For a warlock.
You know, for a warlock.
He was a pretty nice guy.
Like he wasn't as much of a dick as usual, you know what I'm saying?
Okay. Byron and David are the first to arrive within sight of the private box. As there was in a situation when David first walked up here with Gerard, there are two guards, basically, who are sort of like each half standing in front of the door. Both are clearly vampires, and upon seeing you, they both say, well, both of them end up saying, Archon's orders, no one's allowed in. And beyond the door, there are loud voices. Lots and lots of loud voices.
No exceptions.
You saw us. We were with the Archon when all of this happened.
Gentleman on the left shrugs. Archon's orders, man. I don't care who you are. I'm not disagreeing with the Archon.
It's fine. I'm not going to ask you to get your jaw pulled off.
You want to get staked by the Archon, then you can join the ESF, and you can deal with that.
Yeah, Byron will shrug affably and say, all right.
Did Uncle Smell get in there all right?
They both nod. Yeah, he... One of them even wrinkles his nose. He even offered us a few candies. They both look at each other. They shudder.
David's actually going to grin at that. Alright, David's going to head back to Astoria now.
You're not going to talk with each other? You're just like, well, I'm done. Bye.
Like, seriously, David's not going to ask these guys to,
No, I mean, like, with the other members of the coterie. Just like, oh, well, I'm done. Bye.
Yeah, okay. David's going to say to them, I'm going to see if I can't start looking into finding somewhere new to sleep.
I kind of want a new place to sleep as well.
Damn it.
Majestic isn't it?
I'd offer to let you be my roommate, but it's not happening.
I'd let you be my roommate, but I'm not going to let you be my roommate.
Like I said, I'd offer to let you be my roommate, but no.
Well, I think that as the imp said prior to all the shit hitting the fan, I think we should probably stay as a group, whatever we do.
Well, if you guys want to go sleep in Joseph's basement, feel free.
Feel free, but I'm not going to put money that thing can't reach all the way there.
I'm going to try to find somewhere a little bit less established, maybe somewhere that's actually... David walks back out into the Madison Square Garden floor and says, shouldn't there be a level under this, a basement, a maintenance level, something?
As David says it aloud and thinks about it, yeah.
Why was there just dirt under the floors? David's going to go find that hole that the Archon Theo Bell dug.
That is curious. David walks into the room. Yeah, there's some dirt involved in it. Obviously, there's also the foundation of the floor, as Theo didn't hack all the way down into the basement. But apparently he didn't think anything of it, neither did any of you at the time. There is dirt on the floor.
David's going to walk immediately back to the private box. The Archon needs to see something, he tells the guards. You don't have to let me in. Just pass the message on.
One of the gentlemen looks at David. What is it that he's supposed to see?
The hole he dug in the middle of the floor out there?
I'm sure he already saw that if he dug it.
Dirt went flying. But there's a basement beneath that floor.
It takes them some time. And then, like, the eyes just slowly widen in realization.
Just tell him.
We'll pass the message along, David. We'll make sure of it.
Like, now. David rolls his eyes. Is Marcus still around?
Yeah, I'm right here.
You still have the Archon's number.
I think so. But then again, he might have flexed that through a desk. I don't...
How about you try giving her a call?
Marcus will dial Archon's number.
By pressing, that one hot speed dial. And
Yes.
immediately he'll reach.
Beep, beep, beep. We're sorry. The number you reach has been disconnected. We're out of service. Please try again.
Click. I don't have his number anymore.
Both of the guards are sort of looking between themselves, at David, back to themselves, at the loud noises on the other side of the door.
You're terrified, aren't you?
Neither of them seem compelled to want to open the door.
I think there are...
All right, tell you what. You were told not to open the door, not to let anyone in, right?
They nod, almost in synchrony. There we go.
I'm gonna knock on the door.
You're gonna what?
I'm gonna lift up my hand and hit the door with my knuckles.
One of them says, I don't think you should. That, and the other one's like, I don't think that's a good idea.
You're right. It's probably not. But, I mean, you warned me. And I'll tell them you stopped me from going in.
Both of them look at each other, and then, like, they both just step to the side, giving David enough room to knock on the door if he so wishes.
And then David, knowing full well that he might not be heard if he doesn't knock nice and firmly, will, with his strength 3 plus potence 2 self, give a nice, loud knock, knock, knock on the door.
All of that loud arguing and discussion immediately stops.
David will cross his arms behind his back.
Both of the guards, their eyes have widened. They almost look like they want to run.
Yeah, David just waits calmly.
Byron from down the hall just leaning and watching. He's very curious to see what happens here.
The door swings open, and there's the Archon, who's just sort of looming now in the doorframe, and he adjusts his sight down a little bit. David?
Theo?
He looks to the left of the door and the right of the door. Both of the guards look stricken with fear.
They stopped me from coming in, as per their orders.
I see they've done a fantastic job of that.
There's a basement underneath the floor out there, right?
Theo just blinks. I know you mean well, David, but I really hope you didn't interrupt the discussion to tell me there's a basement below Madison Square Garden.
How come dirt went flying when you dug down?
Well, David, He stops. No. Really?
Maybe we should go into the box and talk about this.
Theo blinks at David. All right, you can come inside. You certainly earned that much, Mr. Green.
I'll be right back. My dinner's here.
Okay.
Actually, now would be a perfect time for me to go make something for myself.
Absolutely. We'll go ahead and take a 5-minute break right now.
Cool. I'll need to, I'm going to put something in the microwave and then come back, and then in like 10, 15 minutes I'll need to stir it and do it again. Stuff.
Okay, that's fine. At this point, I'll take a look at the Twitch chat. Hi, Twitch chat. If you aren't taking breaks yourselves, how's it going? How you doing? How are you enjoying the 17th chapter of Vampire the Masquerade thus far? It's been going for over 4 hours now. I haven't had a phone call in a while. I'm in high spirits. How about all of you? You in high spirits? We having a good time? Woo! Tabletop party.
Who are you talking to?
Talking to the people in the chat. Come on, man.
You can actually see the chat?
Yeah, I know.
I can't see chat, so if they've been doing dumb shit this entire time, I don't know about it.
Yeah, it actually got fixed a while ago.
Say, I have successfully made this session a total mind screw. I think that happens with many of the sessions. The Byron Joseph foot and mouth roll reversal was mildly amusing. Nothing like Zemitzi, Tentacle Beast, and Joseph putting everyone at himself in nooses. Good thing they don't need to breathe, right? Well, when it started, I thought someone said Marcus was dead, and thought, how the hell did I miss that last session? Nah, not dead. Well, dead Tremere all over the place, so it can't be too bad.
I mean, for some Camarilla, this is an improvement in this situation.
For a lot of people, a lot of vampires of all stripes, this is an improvement.
Eugenio being dead is not really a bad thing. You can imagine Clan Tremere is a little pissed about it, though. Oh, you just wait until this gets back to Vienna. What do you mean our prince candidate is fucking dead in New York City? Sir, there were tentacle beasts. What? So how long until that 200 vampire count goes down to 150? Nah, it's still pretty healthy and strong. It's definitely still above 200.
I mean, isn't there like every week some new vampires just come on in?
Definitely. Yeah, folks are moving in all the time for opportunity. Domains are shifting around and changing. Some folks are leaving, realizing this is not the best opportunity. The Setites in particular.
I think the tentacles might make a few people run away. Just thinking.
Since everyone claiming the Princedom keeps dropping dead, when is one of the PCs going to try for the top job? Certainly that's an option that's been open to the player characters, but, you know, the one who would want it the most is Byron, and I don't think he wants it the most. I mean, he looks at his idol, Valentine. Valentine doesn't want the Princedom. Byron's like, why doesn't he want the Princedom? Maybe I shouldn't go for the Princedom. Maybe it's actually a bad idea.
Well, Byron, for all his faults, he's savvy enough politically to know that he didn't have enough pull in this town. I mean, he's worse than Marlena. If he goes forward and says, I want to run, he'd just get laughed off. He'd never be taken seriously again. So he's got to let it. I mean, vampires live for a long time. So he's got years, decades to think about this, hopefully.
You got rid of the
Okay,
Tremere? Are we hunting it down to kill it or give it a reward? I don't know. I suppose that depends.
I got it.
Dibs on Genie's
Gotcha.
domain. You can assume the Tremere are going to engulf that.
They engulf the rest of fucking Manhattan.
Toreador's just around up there, and the Venturer in the south. There's a large area they control, and that's where a lot of the money is.
How close was the coterie to Vargas? Byron and Marcus, not so. David knew Vargas personally, and Joseph was connected to law enforcement. Hence why he has his old police blues. But their ally was someone who had been brought in, who's actually primarily responsible for the domain security of Astoria. Naturally, the coterie is concerned.
Yeah, I mean, the guy that's sort of making sure your domain is safe from any other vampire that just wants to just roam on in there and maybe do something stupid. You kind of have to deal with it. Unfortunately, this whole Prince situation is kind of put the whole Vargas thing on the back burner.
Yeah. The coterie has had many interesting ideas over the course of the past 17 sessions. The problem is that, whenever they're about to go through with some of those ideas, something else happens. Nothing like princedom via attrition. Considering right now being a prince candidate equals death by tentacle head pop, I think I'd take my head out of that. It might not have had anything to do pertaining to the princedom, Genie's been the only one whose head's been popped off by a tentacle, I think it's okay. Can I spell out Imp's name in chat? Sure. Trollolololololo.
I have it up on the stream. It should be showing now. I clicked his domain.
Okay.
So he's... How tall is he? Because Theobella was 3 feet taller than him?
Yeah, he's shorter than 4 feet tall. He was born with dwarfism.
Okay. So I was wondering, I was chuckling to myself, how could I insult him?
It's like the size of a gnome.
Yeah.
Why would you want to insult him? To his face.
Yeah, the Archon can do that. Little Mr. Neonate there, not so much.
Yeah, I just don't see the percentage in that right now.
Like, he's not gonna kill you in Elysium.
He's gonna kill you the second you out of Elysium.
Yeah, arch rival. That's what happens whenever you're up to 14 and then you attend the 17 live stream. You learn things.
Everyone else back yet?
They are.
All right. I'll have to leave again in a couple minutes to stir and continue the heating, but...
Well, since you're going to be the only one in the room, then I can just assume that the door's closed right behind David and nothing exciting.
Hey, that's fair. I mean, if Byron isn't planning on following or anything.
Oh no, the door's being closed behind David.
That's fair.
Byron's gonna say, "Dick move, man. Dick move."
This is possibly one of the most unexpected events ever, as far as I never expected David to be the one who gets to be involved with politics. Even if he isn't necessarily, there in any official capacity.
Alright, so for everyone else in the coterie, what happened, you all definitely saw and heard the exchange. David brought up that point about, dirt being flung up, which is like an epiphany that occurred to him. That's certainly a valid epiphany. Like, wait a minute, dirt! I was actually wondering if anyone would point that out.
I noticed it, but I was like, yeah, he just went through the foundation to the dirt. Sub-basement just never even occurred to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's a building, it's a massive public building in, downtown Manhattan.
Oh yeah.
Even if there wasn't a sub-basement or anything like that, there would be subway tunnels or maintenance tunnels or...
Yeah, it just didn't occur to me.
Yeah.
Because I live in, small town, where the foundation is probably a foot or two deep, so,
I mean, it didn't even occur to me at first. You guys noticed when I suddenly realized.
Like, wait a minute. Grimith! Is there a basement here? Yeah. Yep. David Green was invited into the room. I revealed the fog of war so that it could be seen, and then the door closes behind him, and the very fearful guards just sort of scurry to be standing half in front of it each again.
Well, what now, Byron?
All right, now I'm going to go stir my food.
Well, it looks like we've been not invited to the party. I don't know, we can sit around here, or we can, I don't know, we could head back to Astoria. Byron doesn't seem thrilled with doing this, but
Hey, Byron. Can you back me up on this for a minute?
sure.
Do you remember who we all saw walking through into Elysium today? Like after the whole shit happened and then people came?
Yeah, Byron was paying pretty close attention.
Did we miss Carter coming through here? I mean, I don't know if we've figured that out yet.
Carter didn't come through.
Huh. Interesting. Joseph, why do you think that is? You're a Malkavian. He's a Malkavian.
I would not know what goes through everyone's head. Joseph's also going to take the moment to start walking away.
Interesting.
Joseph leaves, dejected. Got here as fast as he could, and no one really told him anything. Poor Joseph.
Well, if he asks, I would be happy to fill him in.
He'll ask at some point. There'll be some things to clarify.
Hey, Byron.
Hmm.
I think we should get out of here.
Yeah.
There's nothing for us.
Let's not back.
There's nothing for us here. Hey, Joseph, can you give us a ride?
Sure.
Yeah, I still think we should stay as a group. So maybe if we all go back to the church, or if you don't want to put anyone there in danger, we can go somewhere else, Joseph. Up to you.
Well, it's the safest place for me. If you guys want to be there, I don't mind so much. That said, again, I can't promise if if whatever this is targeting David or us, or I don't know. Could very well be just as unsafe as anywhere else.
Well, I just figured that, well, I mean, I was thinking safety in numbers. I saw what happened in that hall. It didn't seem to really help the Tremere much, but I don't know, maybe. I mean, Byron just shrugs. He's at a loss. He's very uncomfortable with the situation.
So if Byron and Marcus want to come, Joseph will be happy to have him along, but he's driving straight back to his church.
Yeah, Byron's fine with that. If nothing else, at least people will be watching out during the day.
Were there any things that you wanted to get from your respective havens before, you retreated to the sanctum of Joseph Chung's church?
I want my axe. And my
Yeah,
shotgun.
Byron will get his SMG. And spare clips.
Joseph will drive him there. What time is it when we are leaving there?
We'll say 2:14 in the morning.
Okay, then, if they're wanting to do that or hang around or whatever, Joseph wants to look into getting a security system for the church.
Alright. It's after 2 in the morning. It might be difficult to get a security system right now.
Yeah, I guess so. I didn't even really think about that.
I don't think they sell, like, ADT at the convenience store.
Yeah, I think they're 24/7. You can call them up.
Yeah, he'll have well, he has ghouls. He'll have them give him a call in the morning, and they'll just do it on the ground floor and nothing underneath.
Okay. That's something you can definitely tell the ghouls to look into.
And they will be informed about pretty much everything Joseph knows.
The ghouls are naturally concerned by this.
I trust that they will be.
If you three want to have any further discussion, by all means, continue to interact.
So, what exactly the fuck happened?
You saw the video from David Brett?
Yeah.
We showed it to Theo Bell. He was confused. He went to get the imp, the High Regent, because Eugenio was having a rally of some sorts in Madison Square. The imp came up there, saw the video, and said we assumed that it was because we had made a name for ourselves doing things and then sort of left.
Yeah, he basically said, yeah, your problem, you're screwed. I think it was, not to put a finer point on it.
Yeah. Anyway, soon after he left, we heard screaming down in the area where the rally was being held. We rush on down there with Theo Bell, and we see Eugenio and 3 other Tremere get dragged down by 4 tentacles that are exactly like the one we saw, the one outside of David's place. Naturally, the Archon and us try to find the imp so he can, get to work on finding these people. And afterwards, lo and behold, the ground opened in front of us as we were standing outside of Madison Square Garden. And out came all the bodies with their heads resting upon their chests. Dead.
The belch. Don't forget the belch.
Yeah, belch.
Seeming like it was showing you intentionally.
Oh yeah, it's
Possibly.
singled each one of us out with a body.
Yeah, I have a very, very difficult time believing that any of this is coincidental.
I'm with you.
Oh, and just FYI, I'm talking to the chief of the 114th.
Wait, what?
I'm just going to, if David would rather have someone higher up, I don't feel secure in Astoria not having the chief of the district somewhere where we can be friends with him.
Okay, well, let me know when you plan to go see him. I'll go with.
Yeah, I already talked to him once. Don't worry, it's nothing I can't handle on my own.
So, what's happening?
They informed me on the details of what happened at the place, and then I told them that I talked to Roy.
Yes, they left in Joseph's car for Astoria and then for the church. Meanwhile... Alright, David. Now, say, back in Madison Square Garden, the door to the private box opens and David Green steps out. David, you remember being invited into the private box? Right behind Theo Bell, with the door being closed behind you, the room ended up looking like this. You followed the Archon into the room where you got looked at. Mostly with neutral expressions. The Tremere didn't look that thrilled to see you, but they most likely weren't thrilled by being next to Uncle Smelly, who perhaps had sat next to the High Regent in order to be a massive troll. Upon entering, you remember sharing your epiphany, the dirt. Once Genie had vanished into the ground, the Archon had dove at the spot where the tentacle had burrowed and began ripping up the floor. And at the time, no one had found it suspicious that particles of dirt had been flung out of the hole, but you had had the presence of mind and insight to have that epiphany before you left for Astoria. That was when you decided to be bold and knock on the door. You then remember a rather heated sort of series of discussions about what the dirt could mean, with the High Regent ended up saying that it's, not impossible that particles of dirt could come along with something that would be flesh-crafted, as the Meatsy fiends end up sleeping with particles of dirt from their home. Perhaps this dirt has somehow gotten transported along with the tentacles, or perhaps how they move ends up being so far below the ground that they actually end up carrying particles of dirt with them. If they are covered in such slime and blood, perhaps, it leaves a sticky residue, maybe on the suckers where it attaches. From there's a whole mixture and confusion and sort of like competing arguments and discussions. Theo ends up inviting you to leave and sort of suggests that you actually take the opportunity to go back to your haven and inspect the front of your own door to see whether you find any dirt particles, although, you know, it would make sense for dirt to be a part of that. You know, perhaps embedded in the concrete somewhere, David looks like, you know, he'd probably be strong enough, given how potent he is, that he might be able to unearth some dirt too. Maybe compare, you know, find some particulates that would suggest, you know, any sort of unique qualities of it, something like that. Something that would appeal to David's investigative mind. And that's when David remembers walking out of the room and stepping out of the private box, standing next to two very frightened guards. None of your coterie is nearby.
While we're leaving, or as soon as we leave, I'd like to call up David after a little while.
Okay, in that case, David is going to have a missed call from Joseph.
The message is for him to make sure to grab a sample of that dirt.
He was already on it, but he appreciates the reminder.
The time for you, David, is currently 2:34 in the morning.
He'll grin at the two vampire guards and say, "You did good."
One slowly nods, the other doesn't even move his head.
I'm really tempted to, you know, do that thing where you like jut your chin and chest at someone to try and make him flinch, but nah, I don't think David would do that.
Try to, like, punk him out.
I mean, me in real life, I would be, you know, fucking riding that power trip, but...
Risk one of them frenzying.
That, and it's just not David's style. Anyway, David's going to head on down to the... back down to the floor, take a dirt sample, and take a photograph of the scene to try and get a good idea of just how much dirt was unearthed. You know, just try and get a point to go off of.
It wasn't extensive. There were some particles flung out whenever Theo Bell had begun ripping up the floorboards, but it wasn't, you know, like entire piles of dirt. Just like only a little bit.
Alright. With that, David's going to head back to his haven and start his probably semi-destructive investigation of his own stoop.
The stoop kid's afraid to leave the stoop.
That's exactly what I was going for.
But he's not afraid to destroy it. Alright, it's approaching 3 in the morning. By the time that David takes the wonderfully awesome, you know, public transportation and worms through side passages and what have you to make sure he's not being tailed to
David?
arrive at his haven. Oh, go ahead.
David went and got a sledgehammer when he was hiding that body that one time, right?
Think so, yeah.
So yeah, this is going to be easy.
Might end up breaking the sledgehammer.
Well, and then I've got a big iron weight in my hand.
Certainly there's no need for a strength roll. If David wants to rip apart the front of his, the front area, but in front of the door, he can.
He's going to try to maintain enough structural integrity that it remains, you know, secure. But definitely the floor immediately in front of the door he'll want to investigate.
You know, it definitely seems like there is dirt embedded inside, you know, the concrete and what have you, the surface material. Some of that dirt perhaps was just blown in as soon as all the devastation occurred. But, you know, looks like there are interesting particles.
Alright, he'll take a picture of that and take a sample of that as well.
This is me with a sledgehammer. Click, click.
Yeah, take a nice little selfie. Instagram it.
Upload it to Facebook.
I mean, I bet you there's enough filters on Instagram to make David look damn nice.
I don't know
That's
about
a lie.
damn nice.
So, yeah, once David's got all that sorted away, it's probably about time that he should be looking into finding himself some sleep.
Yeah.
and it's probably too late to try and find a secondary haven at the moment. And it's
Yeah.
too late to go get to his ship.
If you wanted to risk making it at about 90, 100 minutes.
Nah. He'll go lock himself in and batten down the hatches.
With that sort of like ruined front door still. Like, ugh.
Yeah, exactly. And let's see. Is David's 3 dots in intelligence and 1 dot in science sufficient for him to know that geologists can do things like take dirt samples and track them back to where they're from?
He would know that geologists could do that. Yeah, he wouldn't have the equipment or the intellectual know-how to be able to do that, though.
Wasn't asking about that part at all.
It certainly seems reasonable enough. He's lived long enough, and he was in sort of investigative work. Yeah. It would take some time and high-powered equipment and, an intellectual mind, but definitely can sort through particulates.
Well, then he's going to sort the 2 samples away in individually labeled tiny bags and get ready to bring them to Theo Bell to try and track someone down to do that tomorrow night.
This is weed bag 1, this is weed bag 2.
Hey, I mean, shut up.
What about you other 3 who've arrived at the Church of Joseph Chung?
Well, after I get there, I'm going to kind of glance at Marcus. And also, after Joseph mentions that thing about, I've already gone to see the cop, I'm going to share a significant glance with Marcus. Like, the thought is, Christ, man, we can't leave this guy alone for a minute. He just runs off, and if he's not taking girls to Anarch, he's running off to sheriff's department.
Mark is just going to shrug.
But I'm going to say, well, I don't know. I guess it's early yet. So, Marcus, do you want to hit a bar, maybe find something to eat?
Sure. This can't possibly bite us in the ass.
Of course not. And it's out of our domain, too, so we get to have higher rolls, or at least Byron does.
Mark doesn't have a name anymore.
That's right, you're both in domains that are not your own. Alright!
Actually, side note, I just realized something. What time is it exactly when David manages to finish investigating his porch and ferreting away the little bags and such?
We'll say 4:20 in the morning.
And the sun is due to rise at?
Like a few minutes after 6.
Okay, so he could take an hour to go hunting.
Yeah, so long as nothing went wrong.
He's going to do that for the simple reason that if he goes down by 1 more point, he's hungry.
Seems fair. Alright, well, we'll start with you first. David, give me a Wits Plus Streetwise at, it's really goddamn early in the morning. Still your domain. The security's a bit off, and you have to worry about that. Though that doesn't immediately affect the situation right now. Give me Wits Plus Streetwise difficulty 3. Succeeds?
Man, I have just amazing luck tonight, don't I? I'm rolling so fucking good.
Yep. As for you two, Byron and Marcus, given your old sort of cool, sleazy, schmoozy, seductive types, I assume that's what you're going to go after, your charismatic natures. That's how you will lure in the bitches.
I mean, we both have awe.
The problem is that, you're looking at, by the time you guys arrive after you pick up your stuff, you know, you get to the church, Joseph goes to do his own thing. You know, you guys are looking at like 3:30 in the morning. You're not in your domains. Marcus needs to find someone, you know, who's drunk on a Wednesday at 3:30 in the morning, which won't be horribly hard. For him, that'll be a difficulty 6. Byron has to find someone who's attractive enough, and we're going to make that a difficulty 8. For difficulty 6, you can pair together what sort of, you know, sort of sleazy social skill with whatever, you know, with sleazy attribute that you want to use for the matter, like charisma plus empathy, or a subterfuge, or appearance, or whatever. But
That's
whatever
fine.
role you win.
Charisma plus empathy is fine. Does the enchanting voice, does that have any effect on it?
No. Enchanting voice will not help you find a more attractive person.
Oh, if it's just finding,
Marcus is going to be
convincing.
using his appearance plus empathy. Just basically let them do him.
Okay. Regardless, I think you succeeded on that one, Cripson, with the 10, the 8, and the 10.
Yeah, even with the 1, I think I got it.
Yeah. And from you, that is a success as well.
Would my unforgettable face help me out here? Just making sure.
Yeah.
The something that never comes up.
Sure. So
I got 2
unforgettable,
successes.
man, that you forgot yourself, because this particular individual had 4 drinks in her system.
I'm just taking 2 points from her.
Okay. Woo!
Joseph's gonna call up one of his herd.
3:30 in the morning. Alright, it's fine. I'm missing a blood point, I need your help. Joseph Jung wins the willpower roll.
And then he's gonna sit up and play the violin as if Marcus comes stumbling in.
Byron, Marcus, it's 4:30. Did you two want to hunt again?
I'll let Byron decide that. Marcus is too drunk to make decisions.
I think Byron's just going to call it a night. I mean, he would like to, but yeah, it's out of the domain. And also, he's still a little antsy about walking around alone or whatever. So just with the tentacles and everything. So he's going to head back.
I love how Joseph's token just edged over there. It's great.
And here comes Mark stumbling on in.
Bless me, Father, for I am drunk.
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters.
Yeah, I put a little bit too much effort in, I know.
That's right, guys. If you hadn't noticed, those pillars are clickable.
I got bored.
I think I mentioned this last time I saw them.
There you go. Alright, everyone. You all ease off to a wonderfully relaxing sleep, I'm sure. Except for Marcus, who finds himself to be a little bit hungrier. Maybe he consumed an extra point of blood whenever he was rushing along there. He's at 7 of 10 now.
Shit happens.
The kindred ease
Ain't
off
it the
to sleep.
truth?
And I think that is going to end today's session. And I assume there won't be any downtime, because you'll want to pick up right from the next evening.
Pretty much. As soon as David has time free from, this whole tentacle crisis, that's what you can call this chapter, by the way. He's definitely going to want to pursue replacing their police contact as quickly as possible. Or their police ally, rather.
Okay. We're going to have a degradation of security. From now until the matter is resolved, the domain of Astoria no longer has any security. Being as wide open as it is, now that Mikhail Vargas is dead, and the matter currently unresolved.
Exactly.
Even though I don't think...
unless...
Yeah, the next...
Go ahead.
What was I going to say?
I don't know. Basically,
I was going to say something's going to be very poignant and very topical, but I forget.
Of course it was.
So,
anyway, unless Theo Bell or someone has something they want David to do tomorrow, he'll drop off the soil samples, give them the pictures, explain that they should have the soil samples tested by some type of geologist to try to place them from where they're from, and then start enacting Plan Commissioner Ghoul. Done.
And you'll have quite a lot of time to think about that, an entire, week's worth for what David will do in the next evening when he wakes up.
Yep.
What are Byron and Marcus and Joseph thinking?
Byron's thinking, oh fuck, man, could this? I'm with Theo on this. This city is fucked.
It's a good thing you have those escape routes prepared. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Marcus is like, he's been through worse times in New York City before. Well, I don't know if it's been worse times. He's been through a lot in New York City, so he doesn't like seeing the old girl in such bad shape.
I was about to say, when has he been here in worse times?
I mean, just tentacles coming through the floor, just kind of eating and decapitating vampires. Isn't that kind of like, what trumps that?
I mean, maybe when the Sabbat was in control and we were fighting to retake the city.
Nope, sorry. Not worse
Maybe
times.
when Lombok Ruthen left him for dead.
Let me just say, Mark's seen some shit.
Oh, maybe that time we fought a giant flaming snowman.
Okay, that's close.
Or the time that an ancient, horrific monster talked to us in a country accent and, offered us gifts in exchange for us selling a person to him.
The only reason that's worse is because of the country accent.
Yeah, agreed.
So we're all agreeing here. Persephone was by far the worst thing that happened in the city.
So far.
Well, his accent at least.
Yes, Sevalod's accent was the worst thing to ever happen to this city.
We are glad that Demir killed it.
Killed it.
That said, Joseph's kind of in a sort of a daze of I don't know what the fuck's going on around me.
So the same way he's felt for most of the game, right?
Yeah.
But on the plus, you're in control of some of that now.
Well, here's
you still
the
know
thing.
what's going on.
Unlike basically everyone else, his character had a relatively peaceful, stable, and secure domain prior to the influx of the Camarilla.
Yeah, after his embrace, he was in New York City, fine and dandy with the Sabbat there. He didn't give a fuck. And then everything rolled in, and everything blew up, and now everything's gonna go to shit.
I mean, obviously David had a problem with the Sabbat. But yeah, I mean, you had one of the few safe zones during the war. And now this.
Don't remind him.
It's the Ivory Tower's fault.
They're responsible for the snowman breaking into my church.
Oh, wait. Maybe not.
They
Well,
nearly killed Rain.
yeah, just kill them all.
That is a wise and mature approach to take.
Of course.
And I'm sure it'll have no lasting negative consequences either.
Especially not on his humanity.
Right? I mean, what's more human than, walking into your enemy's camp with an animal bone and just clubbing literally all of them to death? Nothing's more human than that.
Well, considering that would probably barely annoy his enemies.
Okay, fine, a chainsaw.
Could he lift it?
Could he?
Probably
I
not.
mean, he could blood buff himself beforehand.
So what did the four of you think of the session?
I like the fact that it feels almost comical that there's like two levels of things going on. There's Joseph overworking with this police band, like sort of half acting as a mob boss, and on the other hand you have this fucking nightmare rising from the ground, ripping people underneath and just throwing up their destroyed bodies.
I find it fascinating that David appears to be the person who has the most overall political support from people, or at least involvement. It's not that much, mind you, but it's still the most of the party.
Well, Marcus doesn't care. Joseph, he's not a big Camarilla guy. Secretly.
And Byron's an asshole.
Byron has tried, okay? He has clawed himself up from the depths of where he used to be.
With his foot in his mouth the entire way.
Hey, man, he hasn't done anything wrong like...
Hey, I mean, at least that means
sessions.
he's always got a foothold on his climb.
Nah, Byron... I think the last time Byron did something just monumentally stupid was when he tried to go into the Ouroboros cab company with a gun.
I think you've done something monumentally stupid before then, but it has been for a couple games, at least.
I think it was something that everyone else thought was stupid, but maybe it was when I tried to awe the sheriff. That might have been after that.
That was a pretty bad time.
You tried to awe Toreador. I'm just gonna say, good luck with that one.
Yeah. I mean, at least you aren't walking into places and, just letting all the spaghetti fall out of your pockets anymore.
But yeah, at this point, Byron is, he could probably make himself more known if he really tried, but what he is attempting is that he figures, well, what is he going to try for? It's not like he can become Primogen unless he somehow knocks off Valentine, and he doesn't care one way or the other. He likes Valentine fine, but, it's kind of like, It's more Valentine is his in, hopefully.
Yeah, the way it is for David right now is that David's not necessarily pursuing any sort of actual position, but he has sort of decided that he is a person of importance, and he intends to see himself treated that way. I mean, he's a high generation vampire. He's pretty involved with pretty much everything happening in the city, and he knows a lot of very important people. At this point, the way he sees it, not necessarily the way I see it, but the only way to actually start being treated as a person of importance now that he's got all that out of the way is to start acting like he is important.
Oh, definitely.
And not like in a, oh, you bitches better worship the ground, I'll walk on kind of way, but like, I'm competent, I'm able, and I do things that matter.
Yeah, Byron would be all for that, except he wants mainly to get his feet under him. I mean, every time he thinks he's got his feet on solid ground, tentacles start flying out of it or something. And so he just wants a little security. He wants to build a little power base and move out from that. So, because he's only been in this city like 8 or 9 months now. I mean, so he knows more people than he did, but far fewer than David Green for sure. And he's less comfortable here.
Yeah, this is, everything else aside, this is David's city. He was born here, he was raised here, he went to school here, he was a cop here. He lived here when the Sabbat owned the city. This is
saying a lot of things. You're saying a lot of things that are also Marcus will echo, but again, Marcus is not really gunning for a political position, mostly because there's Thomas Arturo and a bunch of other Toreadors out there.
Well, again, David doesn't necessarily want a position of actual, like, official importance or political importance. He wants a position of, cultural or social importance within the...
You need to be a harpy. There's got to be a Nosferatu harpy. That would just be beyond awesome.
Dave's kind of angling for something halfway between, like, a harpy and a sheriff, I suppose. Like someone who gets shit done and whose word matters.
How's he feeling about Carter Vanderweyden?
He's ambivalent.
And probably not. We don't even know where the hell he is right now.
Exactly.
I mean, the only time we knew Carter Vanderweyden was alive was the time we saw him.
Yeah, and it's been 2 weeks since David last talked to Carter?
Yep. Pretty much.
Just an out-of-character question. Is there any idea what the largest clan, just by sheer numbers, is in the city?
It's tough to say. Mainly because you're not sure how many anarchs there are. Bruges might be the biggest, due to anarch numbers, seeing as how many of the anarchs are probably Bruges, but there's some from the other clans as well. The Vintru might be the biggest, given how they've been established here the longest. There's quite a few still tucked in there, the southern Manhattan. And there's some spread out through the other boroughs as well. The Toreadors might be the biggest, because of how amazing cultural, and historical site this is, such a happening city here. It's really a mixture between the Vintru, the Tremere, the Toreador, and the Bruges. No other clan comes close to those numbers. Nosferatu have a few dozen. Malkavian maybe has a dozen. Gangrel don't matter because they're not a part of the Cameron anymore, but there's probably no more than a dozen of them total either.
Okay. I was just wondering because Marcus is not he's a well-known Toreador, but there's probably a lot more well-known Toreador than him.
Yes, there are other Toreador who've attempted to devote their lives to do more than sitting at a bar and drinking.
What can I say? Marcus knows what he's good at.
Gotta do what you gotta do, I guess.
I mean, I think I said, like, over the last 10 days, Marcus has been spending more time with just Toreadors. And as you said, he started to hate them more as you grow to hate your own kind.
Yeah, David can definitely relate to that.
Yeah, but it's a different kind of hate between, like, David and the Nosferatu than when it is with Marcus and Toreador.
Jazz asks, so do you guys think that Carter has been eaten or is eating?
I mean, it's definitely a possibility, but I think it's more likely.
He could easily have just not come and be doing Malkavians.
Maybe just.
I mean, I definitely do find it suspect that he wasn't around for this, nor the events surrounding the sheriff declaring himself prince, but I don't know.
Was he in the running when the sheriff declared himself prince?
Yes, he's been the running the entire time.
Okay, I was just double checking. Then it would be, I think it would be clear why he wasn't. I mean, if he knew that the sheriff was declaring himself prince, he wasn't going to be there for that.
Eugenio was there, Marlena wasn't there. A lot
Right.
of none of the other candidates were there when
Right.
the sheriff declared himself prince.
Right, so
I
that's
also
not
find
really
it interesting that he didn't show up for this. Did he?
Not that any
Byron
other
and Marcus?
character. Yeah, not any character saw him. Not Byron, not Marcus. Whenever David walked into the room, Carter wasn't there.
Could
I mean,
I
it's
think,
entirely possible that as like the fourth level, like obfuscate so Marcus can't see him, but
You know, he could be doing, his own shit.
could have the same thing Joseph has?
Right, no, I'm not saying this is anything like condemning or anything, just saying it's noteworthy.
Oh, certainly.
Yeah, Byron's first thought, though, when he saw Marlena, is like, why is she here? he has very little respect for Marlena.
Byron might not have been the only person asking himself that question.
I mean Marcus nod. He was more nodding at Duke Wiley because he has respect for Duke Wiley. He doesn't really know Marlena, but apparently she thought he was nodding at her. But he's like, she's nice, I guess. Still a Bruja.
But yeah, so you say Marcus is hating his own kind. Byron is, he's gone to Elysium a few times, I guess, since the last session. Who knows? 2, 3, 4. Doesn't matter. And I don't know. I would say he's probably pretty stoked that people aren't scoffing at him. He kind of likes hanging out with people now. So.
Yeah, I mean, with Theo saying, there's things the Archon wouldn't say that about someone, who wasn't a real member of the Camarilla, so, helps Byron get his foot in the door.
There you
If
go.
you want a bunch of people to hate, go to the PS1 contemporary art and just listen to them gossip. You will grow to hate yourself, or at least what they're talking about.
It's a good thing that that Byron didn't end up going to the apartment of Mikhail Vargas, right? I made that pretty clear with all the garlic.
I was actually, you may have been off getting a phone call then, but I was like, man, I really wished he had gone there just so he could run screaming from the I wouldn't even make a roll. I just want to do it. I mean, just for giggles.
And speaking of that, I like the part where David Green botched and Marcus failed on the investigation.
Yeah, I'm wondering what we missed.
I am sad that Joseph was not there. That said, he may very well go back to check on his own. But by the time he does, it'll probably all be gone.
Who knows? Maybe Isaac, Vargas is Cain or a werewolf or a mage or insert other joke here.
Maybe Isaac or Maine. Wait, you already made a joke. Damn it! I need to stop looking at other things.
Shit. I know in the New World of Darkness, vampires can always tell each other on sight. Is there anything about that? I didn't see anything in the anniversary rules. Is there anything like that?
No, there's nothing that...
But considering how you know how the vampiric condition tends to look, you would know what to look for.
They can only tell each other on sight the first time they meet.
Yeah, I know that.
In New World of Darkness, the thing is that each vampire's beasts try to size each other up and see who's the lesser one.
Yeah, I remember that. I was just didn't see anything about it in the anniversary, and I didn't know if I just overlooked it completely.
I don't think there is one like that in anniversary.
So if someone blushes up and everything, they very well may pass themselves off as human. It's entirely possible.
If they're clever and crafty enough, yeah, sure, it's possible. Or obfuscated themselves into appearing human. Mikhail's half-brother's actually a vampire. Shit.
Hey, Joseph not putting anything out of the possibility list.
Right.
Everyone is an enemy.
So we've gone from snowmen to tentacle monsters, right, guys?
I mean, isn't that the age-old story?
Yes.
From Canada to Japan.
Whoa,
No,
whoa.
pretty much just Japan.
Hopefully you weren't too unnerved by the situation or laughing too much about it.
Weren't or were?
Weren't.
I don't know why you'd want that.
I just want you guys to have a good time and be able to relax.
Joseph blaming it
I
out.
don't know about that.
Joseph blaming it, attacking the three of you on the demon blood. No, seriously, that,
You know,
that seems
that-
like a
that-
good
that-
idea.
That definitely could have been the reason why it was knocking on David Green's door. How's David thinking on that front?
Oh yeah, no, he's fucking terrified. The
didn't attack-
idea of
didn't
it
do
being
anything-
Sevalod rings a little bit hollow for him, for that very reason.
Well, it really didn't do anything to Marcus. Not yet, anyways.
He heard giggling. That's all that fucked with Marcus.
It could be a ghost. I'm not ruling out the haunting just yet.
Ghost tentacle.
Until you get Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd in here, that place is still haunted.
The final chapter of this chronicle is just gonna have the fucking giant doughy white monster just walking through New York City at night.
Covered in
I mean, the
tentacles.
final chapter is when we finally realize that we're sharing a universe with Ghostbusters.
That
Like,
was
it
like
never-
that.
It never came up because it was never relevant. We never crossed over with them, but... Yeah.
That would be mind blowing.
Anything to know before running or playing a World of Darkness game? Be prepared to make it up as you go. White Wolf will not help you.
Yeah, New World of Darkness is a lot better in that front, but it's still not that
wait,
good.
wait. Not a lot better. It's better, not a lot better.
No, it's a lot better, but even that doesn't count for much.
Yeah.
Huh.
Still very. You have to be able to make up at the fly.
Experience point wise, each of your characters has gained 2 experience points. However, you will not be allowed to spend experience points, since the next session will be starting on the next day.
So I'm hoping to get to use that demontation a couple of more times, so I've got a good reason to spend a few more points on it.
That's the first time he busted out the crazy power, everyone.
Yeah, giving a poor schmuck nightmares.
That was certainly an interesting interlude that Joseph had with the deputy inspector.
That was when I was laughing, because with every line, I mean, just like Aaron was saying, it just seems so bad. What he's saying is like, we want to keep you safe, and if you don't help us, you might not be safe. I'm like, oh my god.
It was
Yes.
literally the shadiest thing I'd ever heard.
I can't give you their last names, but we are very interested in the security of a story.
Like,
I was-
I'm expecting your actions there to result in a police investigation of you, of Astoria Estates. Just,
Yeah, Evelyn's going to call Byron and say, why were all our accounts frozen? Yeah, that type of thing.
Yeah, I was trying to put my mind in the mindset of how Joseph would go about it, what skills he's got, what he's relied on, and the only thing he's got to rely on is people naturally have a tendency to trust him a little bit too much.
He does come across as a trusting individual, so there is that. It's just hard to trust you whenever you're talking to like in shady veiled threats. You know, speaking like you're illegal and illicit. I mean, you didn't even see the jacket that this guy had. You took a look at the records on the guy. You'd have seen the commendations for both military service and law enforcement. He's a guy on the up and up. Maybe.
I like this guy already because he's in military service. I like this guy a lot more.
Yeah, he told us that from like the beginning.
Yeah,
Joseph wasn't there, man. Joseph wasn't there.
Yeah, that said, the main reason I jumped on it is because I didn't know how to handle it. I thought Joseph, and I honestly couldn't think of a much better way. There's probably a few ways I could have handled it better as Joseph's, but none that was more to his thing, and none that was as immediately jump on it before David gets around to it.
First of all, I don't know why you'd want to beat up David to it, but anyway, as far as what you did with him, I don't think that's...
The main
I
reason
think you can't correct it at this point.
You think I can't, or you don't think I can?
I think you can. Yeah, he might think you're super shady, but there's nothing that ghoulification can't fix on that score as long as he doesn't last too long.
And now that you might have given him nightmares, there's no telling how he'll respond.
Yeah, that's sort of the thing. He's wanting to ghoul him, so he's not really worried about him thinking he's shady because he's going to reveal to him that every fucking nightmare he's ever had is probably there's something worse out there.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how that...
Holy
crap!
You would be the worst sire.
What? He's preparing him for the world of darkness. He's not doing it nicely. Remember his sire...
No, but you're doing it in a way that isn't going to make them, like, prepared and educated and that sort of stuff. You're doing it in a way that's just going to make them scared.
Yeah, after he makes them scared, then he can start to educate him. That said, he has no intention to ever sire anyone. Yeah, his sire made him kill his sister. So, yeah, he doesn't have the best things with that either.
Well, I mean, it's very Machiavellian, and I kind of like it from that instance. I mean, you just go in there and say, okay, this is the worst I can do. And then you're nice to him from forever after that. So he's going to be scared shitless of you, but then he's going to like you because you're going to give him other stuff. Hopefully, that's the plan, that you're not going to keep kicking him and stuff.
Oh, no, he does not intend to kick him at all. He's not doing this out of a sort of a mean-spiritedness. He's doing it out of sort of, there is very scary shit out there. You need to be terrified of the shit out there. Yes, and that too.
You should have actually got a bus, one of those short buses that churches have.
But the main thing that got into my mind when I was doing it was his Christian background. That was the main thing that made me it made me think of the be scared of hell.
Yeah. I mean, I think it'll work. Like Aaron said, I think, it was definitely, you're definitely going to make him pee himself, so it'll be interesting.
Well, he's not making him kill one of his other ghouls for the spot like his sire did, so it's a step up.
Silver lining.
Legacy of crazy.
But no, I mean, like I said in the chat, yeah, depending on the way you look at it, I mean, armchair coaching or whatever aside, you can go back and say, oh, you should have done this, should have done that, and plenty of people have done that to me too, but this is just a kind when it comes down to it. It's not like you, I don't know, tried to awe the sheriff or stuff. I mean, it's a different level, is what I'm saying.
Oh, and speaking of people's sires, something I didn't really think about until this session is the fact that David, like, aside from the fact that David's not sure if he actually knows how to, embrace someone correctly because of that one time, there's also the fact that he would not want to embrace someone that he actually likes as a Nosferatu. Like, it's a fate that he wouldn't wish on someone.
Yeah, if you ask Joseph about that, you'll get the exact same answer.
I wouldn't want to wish anyone to become a Nosferatu either.
Yeah, and I don't think I did this online, but I did send it to Grimith a week or two ago that he broached the subject with Evelyn, and she's like, nah, I kind of like getting a suntan too much, or whatever she said. So, but he probably not now.
I mean, if it's something that you want her to do, she'd do it. It's just, she likes doing things during the day. Maybe it's because she's useful for you during the day.
I mean, like, aside from the fact that her superpowers just aren't as good as ours, she's still fucking immortal at this point, as long as she keeps getting her blood.
Oh, definitely. And it's Byron just brought it up and said, think about it. It wasn't even something he wanted to do right at that moment, but he did bring it up with her. So he'd probably be happy to sire her or someone, just, but not immediately.
Something David wants to figure out, because he wants to know for if and when he has a ghoul, which might be rather soon, is if you can take a vampire that's in torpor or who's been staked or whatever, and kind of pour blood into their mouth beer bong style, and then drain vitae out of them to keep the ghoul nourished while they're in torpor.
I'm pretty sure that would work.
I think so, but it's something that David doesn't know.
Yeah, because you could mechanics-wise, it should work fine. It's because you can feed from someone in torpor. There's no reason you can't cut them and bleed them to something else in torpor.
So yeah, David is considering the possibility of actually putting together a small organization of ghouls that will have the responsibility of caretaking him when he's in torpor, which apparently happens an awful goddamn lot, and that knows how to, sustain themselves.
3 times. Marcus has been knocked out once himself. Byron came close.
I never want to... Marcus doesn't want to experience torpor again, even though he was only in torpor for, 10 minutes?
I think it was like an hour or two, actually.
It was shorter than a month.
Yeah, it was somewhere like an hour.
Yeah, it's not. It was not a fun thing for Marcus.
Just think of how much your unlives would have been different if Byron hadn't had the epiphany to try using the rock on you.
Well, we'd probably be playing backup characters at this moment.
Not
No, I
Aaron.
only got the one.
No, Joseph and Byron probably wouldn't have managed anything on their own for a month.
It would have been tiddlywinks. I mean, seriously, Byron would just say, well, fuck. And then he just, goodness.
I mean, with neither David nor Jermaine around, what are you going to do?
I don't know. Byron would just go to a lot of parties and stick his foot in his mouth, I guess. It's, go with what you know, right?
All right.
I mean, like I said, you'll always have a foothold that way.
Are there any questions you 4 have for me?
Can't think of any of the top head.
Not one you're going to answer, but is that thing fucking Zemitzi?
I mean, it seems the logical conclusion.
Yeah, that was the immediate first place I went. And I I'm pretty sure we all know about him in character, even if I can't remember where we heard about it from. It was from Theo, right?
Yeah, it was from Theo. Because he said that, like when explaining why we were getting the Heart of Icthoru, he also explained that the Tzimisce say that, well, some Tzimisce say that Tzimisce himself is in torpor beneath New York.
Yeah, okay. I just want to double check we knew that in character.
Yeah. I mean, it's something that, going back to the whole tentacle thing, yeah, Theo said, it probably is Tzimisce related. You guys think it's probably Tzimisce related. The High Regent said it's most likely Tzimisce related, but who knows? Maybe it's some sort of Tremere ritual designed to remove Genie and his supporters from the picture, because the imp secretly despises Eugenio and actually likes Carter Vanderwayden, but would never publicly come out and support him so long as there was a Tremere candidate for the princedom.
Or it could be something that's not even vampiric in nature.
Maybe he upset a mage.
Hey, I'm not ruling it out.
And, the reason why that tentacle knocked on David's door was just some sort of ruse designed to fuck with people's heads.
He was just saying hi. I mean, wanted to share tea and crumpets or whatever.
Well, I mean, let's see, it knocked around 2 a.m., right?
Yeah.
Well, that's too early for breakfast tea, so the Earl Grey's right out.
But, maybe it just shows, a sort of place where it would be recorded and noticed by a paranoid Nosferatu, and maybe it didn't we actually want to do anything with David. David just happened to live there.
I mean, I wouldn't have to do anything with David either.
It's the demon blood.
It's the penis.
Oh yeah, it's looking for the Nosferatu penis.
That's what all those suckers are for, right?
It is
and
a tentacle
everyone
monster.
else. Mm. You know you love it.
Joseph does. Got dirt particulates everywhere that David was like, hey, oh my god. That was a good moment to have an epiphany.
I mean, he was right about to leave, too.
Yep. Like, stop the subway! Come on, guys, I'm tired of dragging out this session. I don't like Vampire the Masquerade. Just make a prince already!
Eh.
The way the thing's going, you might get your wish.
Just watch. David declares himself prince and then tears in half the first person who says otherwise.
I don't know, man. If I really wanted to make that happen, just like 4 sessions ago, Marlena's the new prince. The end. What? What? How?
It's true.
So, I mean, on a scale from 1 to rocks fall and everyone dies, how tired are you of Vampire the Masquerade, Grimith?
That's a pretty large scale. It's still a learning process for me. I have difficulty keeping track of these vampire things, and the lack of guidelines has not been helping me. It's there's a very interesting and involved metaplot. That's the primary reason why I was attracted to VtM. Had it in my head for all these years, and why I decided, I'd sit down and host a campaign of this. But I've also learned firsthand why, so many, like, VTM veterans are like, the Requiem has, like, the toolbox with the guidelines, and there's no
Yup.
jihad. It has its draws.
I mean, even the setting of Requiem is a lot more toolbox than Metaplot. Like, I mean, they really embrace the idea of, everything that they talk about might or might not actually exist in your campaign.
Yeah.
And I also have a little bit of difficulty as well, just covering the entire scope of... The city is fucking massive! And it's not a city that I've been to myself, and we're in a technological era where it just covers so much in scope, and every individual vampire is unique, has their own backgrounds, who knows how long they've lived. It is taxing to juggle all of the players.
Oh yeah, I can definitely understand that.
Even with all of my notes and crib sheets I keep up on what each character wants and what they have and what they're willing to do to get what they want. For example, Theo Bell wants out of New York City. What is he willing to do to get out of New York City?
Literally anything.
Theo Bell's responsible for the tentacles. Theo Bell is
There you go.
responsible.
I was just thinking that. There we go.
He's doing it just to drive the ivory tower out of New York. Just so he never has to come back.
Back to the concept of one thing, besides Theo Bell being the secretly behind everything bad that's happened in New York City. I do like Requiem's iconic locale. They made New Orleans the iconic vampire city, and it's quite...
Right, in New World of Darkness, every line ends up with sort of an iconic location. Like a place that they stat out in one of the appendices, or less stat out, more like adequately describe. You know what I mean?
And it might have been a bit... whatever. I just like New Orleans because it has a very interesting charm and system there.
Right. You can get your beads there.
Sure.
Even using, like, examples from, like, the meta plot to, like, in characters that are actually designed in the old VTM to, like, craft a setting, like Calibros or Theo Bell or some of the other characters, as well as examples, situations, and settings pulled from the New York by Night setting. Like, when they describe how the situation would be, I'm like, what the fuck does all of this mean? None of this shit makes sense.
Well, that's sort of the big problem with the old classic line of World of Darkness. You basically have to know exactly what the hell is going on with the meta plot from every point before you're playing.
The problem is that White Wolf doesn't tell you what's going on with the meta plot. It's like, it's all described from the perspective of the people who are in the meta plot, so it's not real, maybe.
And it's all spread out across a bajillion books.
Yeah, and
Even
some
though
of them
they-
are contradictory. I mean,
Even though they compiled so much in the 20th anniversary edition book, when I look in the other thing for, like, examples of how to do things, all I have are more questions.
That's classic Darkness for you, though.
So, I'm not tired of the campaign. I'm just, the system is wearing on me.
I can understand that.
So kudos to White Wolf.
Just fuck the jihad, man. That's pretty much...
We aren't in a Rocks Fall everyone dies moment, at least not here. Maybe next session I'll just have all the tentacles come out and just... If they could drag Genie and some Warlocks down, I'm sure they could get the four of you, right?
That's actually something I was thinking. I mean, if they wanted us, they would have just taken us. So they're either messing with us, or trying to get us to do something, or... I don't know.
It's like those situations where, the coterie, with David and without David, primarily with Jermaine, just saw curious Zamitzi symbols and fog and what have yous.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, why us? What are they going for?
Demon blood.
Because, I mean, maybe, I mean, but even before the demon blood...
Even before the demon blood. As far back as Leslie Gutter. That's really how all this started, didn't it? In an early January morning in the Steinway warehouse district ever so long ago.
And then somebody had to go and throw her to Sevalon.
Yeah, Jermaine.
Wonder how
Somebody
she's
had to go
doing.
and throw the Anarchs, first of all.
Also, just to clarify, we never got any information about her from the Tremere, did we?
Nope.
Or anything at all about what happened besides they killed Sevalon or claimed to have.
Are you really
Yeah,
gonna
on that
trust what a
note-
warlock says anyway?
No, not at all. I'm just wondering if they're claiming they killed everyone, or if they're claiming they didn't see it, or if they're just saying, "Hey, fuck you."
They cleared it out. Sevalon met final death. Sheriff Kadir Al-Asmai was found down there. He met final death. They nuked that shit. Tremere's will, man. You saw what they did to the weather. Assuming they're the ones who were messing with the weather. What if the Tremere weren't playing with the weather? What if they just claimed to be playing with the weather?
They weren't playing with the weather. That's part of the jihad.
I mean, out of character, between the weather and the dirt appearing around the tentacles, to me this just reeks of Kuldunic sorcery. Just saying.
I'm sure everything's okay.
Yeah, no, sure.
Alright. Session then is over, and if you guys don't have anything else to comment or question for me or for each other, we're done here.
I don't have anything unless the other three can think of something.
Darth Johnson, we're done here.